Good day, first world travellers, and welcome back. Do you fancy a Japan video? I know I do, so stay tuned for my top 5 places to go in Japan. Welcome everyone, today is Monday morning. I am not in Japan, I'm in Sorrento in Italy, as you do. Look at that gorgeous view. So why am I doing this video when I'm not in Japan? The reason is, I know that many of you subscribed, thank you very much, due to my Japan videos, so why not do some more even though I'm not there? Now I just want to clarify something before I do this video. So you may have noticed in the thumbnail that it says forget Kyoto and Osaka. I didn't put that on there to be controversial. I put it on there because there are so many more places that you can visit in Japan than just those 2 places plus Tokyo. Many people will go to Tokyo, Kyoto and Osaka purely because they are the more popular places to visit in Japan. They're more touristy, which is totally understandable. You may only have 1 week or 2 weeks in Japan. It may be a trip of a lifetime. You may not be lucky enough to spend as much time in Japan as I did. So it's quite understandable that you would go to those places. I'm not against those places in any way. However, if you do have more time, I plead with you, please try and visit elsewhere in Japan, because there are so many better places to visit to enable you to get a view of the culture in Japan, the history, those sorts of things. So without further ado, let's get on with my top 5 picks for places to visit in Japan. Right, number 1 is my first location that I went to in Japan. No, I didn't fly into Tokyo, I flew into Nagasaki. The reason I did this was because I was quite apprehensive about coming to Japan for the first time. It was very daunting, largely because of the difference in people, the difference in language, the difference in culture, those sorts of things. They may be things that you may be feeling as well if you haven't been to Japan yet. And I wanted to go to a place that was smaller, a place that was quieter, allowed me to get a lay of the land, to get my bearings, you know, how to talk to people in basic Japanese, how to walk down the street, how to get used to the local culture, and how to, this might sound stupid, but how to buy something from Family Mart, stupid basic things like that. And going somewhere smaller like Nagasaki really gave me an opportunity to do that, so I would recommend that you do that rather than just flying straight into Tokyo, because that's what everyone else does. Now the thing with Nagasaki is obviously it's well known for the fact that the atomic bombing happened in 1945. There is an amazing atomic bomb museum there, and it's not just about learning about the atomic bomb. There's also a section about nuclear weapons. It's all very, very interesting. It's not something that you would, you know, be excited about as a tourist, that sort of thing. It's something to learn about. You know, it's really interesting and fascinating. Also, you've got Mount Isanu. I can never remember the name of it. You'll see that over the picture now. You can go up there on cable car and get a good view over the city. It's actually one of the best views, nighttime views, I believe it was, after Monaco and Hong Kong, I think it was. And you can also visit Gunkanjima, which is Battleship Island. I wasn't particularly overwhelmed by this when I went there, but it's an interesting place to go. You can also pretty much walk around Nagasaki, it's quite small, or you can get a tram, which is about 160 yen, at least it was when I was there, it may have gone up. But it's a really good way of getting around the city and just exploring, you know, just have a look around. I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea. So that's Nagasaki. On to point number 2, which is Kawaguchiko. Now you might be thinking, I didn't actually go there, but I did. So Kawaguchiko is located in the shadow of Mount Fuji, close to Tokyo. It's next to another place called Fujisan. I actually stayed in Fujisan. Many people will go to Mount Fuji as a day trip, which is great, especially if you've got limited time. But if you do have more time, like I said before, I would recommend staying in somewhere like Kawaguchiko, because I love volcano towns. They're brilliant. They're small, they have a different atmosphere to somewhere like Osaka or Tokyo, and it also gives you an opportunity to spend more time at Mount Fuji. You can walk up Mount Fuji if it's during climbing season, or you can just do a tour. I did one with K's Hostel, I believe it was called, which you can see over this. I would recommend, though, staying in Kawaguchiko over Fujisan, which is what I did, because transport links to Kawaguchiko are better than Fujisan. You have to get another bus to get to Fujisan, plus there's less in Fujisan. So that is place number 2. On to place number 3. This is Kobe. Kobe is located close to Osaka. Many people, again, do a day trip from Osaka to Kobe, but this is a great place you can spend some more time if you do have the time. There's so much to do in Kobe, it's unbelievable, loads, so much, depending on what your interests are. So I'm interested in things like earthquakes, volcanoes. There was the earthquake there in 1995 in Kobe. There is a disaster reduction institution, I just remembered it, brilliant, that you can go to where you can learn all about what they're doing now to avert any further catastrophe from potential earthquakes. That was an interesting sentence. And also you've got things like Chinatown, you've got Kobe beef, which is awesome, and you've got a waterfall as well, which is right behind Shin Kobe Station. And also if you go in April, potentially you can catch cherry blossom, which is awesome. And by the way, I just want to point out that Kobe is my only video to almost have more dislikes than likes, but I think this was because I vomited up Japanese food, and people don't seem to like the fact that I don't like Japanese food, but all I can say to that is get over it. Okay, on to place number 4, which is a small town close to Nagano at the foot of the Japanese Alps. This is Takayama. This is somewhere I went a second time I was in Japan, and I loved it. It was one of my favourite places in Japan, I think. So one thing about Japan is that you have to visit the small towns and cities because it's a slower pace of life, it's calmer, you know, there isn't the bright lights of Tokyo and Osaka. People are even more friendly than they are in Tokyo, which is awesome. And one thing about Takayama is there's so much to do. It's unbelievable how much there is to do, and many people who were there were only there for like 1 or 2 nights, and I was just like, oh my god, you should stay here longer. I stayed there for 6 nights, which is madness. So you've got the morning markets, you've got Hida beef, which I did a whole video about, which you can see up there. Also, what is there? There's Shin Hataka, which is a nearby mountain. You do have to get a bus, and it's the world's first double-decker gondola or cable car. Amazing. Unfortunately I couldn't do it because there was Typhoon Noru going through at the time and the gondola was closed. So but if that's something you want to do when you're there, make sure you do it. Also in Takayama you can just simply go for a walk. It's awesome. Just walk and walk and walk. It's so quiet. Amazing views of the Alps. Awesome. I love Takayama. I want to go back there now. And finally, place number 5, we're going back to Kyushu, where I was at the beginning of this video. We're going to Aso, which is definitely my favourite place in Japan. It's a volcano town. Aso is located at the foot, well, not at the foot, it's on a supervolcano, Mount Aso, which is one of the biggest supervolcanoes in the world. I actually went on my birthday, which is awesome, at the end of March. In Aso, there's literally one hostel, Aso Base Backpackers, which was the best hostel I've ever stayed in, ever. I did a whole video on that again. You've got one convenience store, Konbini, you've got Lawson, just around the corner from the hostel, and you can do a tour, or not a tour, you can get a bus. It costs about 1,000 yen, 1,200 yen, something like that, to go up Mount Aso, and then you can simply walk for as long as you want, obviously until the last bus goes. One great thing about when I was there was it was snowing, and the snow was all over the volcano, and just as I left, all the snow was gone. So I kind of got to saw 2 different sides of it, climate wise. There's lots of hikes you can do, lots of walks, there's a great museum as well. It's just awesome. And one thing I love about volcano towns is that it's just so different. You have that cold snap in the air, and it's so different from the rest of Japan. In short, Mount Aso, I love it. Make sure you go there. And lastly, just to address the point in the thumbnail of this video, forget Kyoto and Osaka, I just want to point out that I never went to Kyoto purely because I couldn't handle the tourists. After being in Osaka, I'd had enough of it. Osaka is so tourist orientated, it's unbelievable. Places like Dotonbori, Shinsekai less so, but still it was horrific with the amount of tourists, the amount of people. If you've got an anxiety problem, you will have a real problem in Osaka. And to be honest with you, I didn't really find that many interesting things to do in Osaka compared to other places in Japan. And lastly, Tokyo. Now, I love Tokyo. It's the best city in the world by far. It is my favourite city in the world. You can probably tell that by the fact that I must have done about 20 videos in Tokyo. It was just absolutely awesome. So even though I've mentioned all these 5 places that you should go to in Japan, Tokyo is a must, let's face it. More than likely, if you're a tourist on a short trip in Japan, you will probably arrive in Tokyo, let's face it, so you've got to spend some time there. You can check out all my videos on Tokyo in the playlist below and up there. Make sure you do, and if you enjoy them, please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy your trip in Japan just as much as I did. I'm literally getting emotional now thinking about Japan because I love it so much. So I hope you feel the same when you go. I'll catch you later.